Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ball Hogs. My name is Aaron Atida. Joining me in the Digital 5 studios is Coach Charles Tiu. And all the way from Las Vegas, we have DJ Mo Twister joining us as well. Another episode, another week full of a whole lot of basketball that we need to get to. And we start things out with your defending NBA champions.
Well, why don't we start off with saying hi to Charles? Hey, Charles.
Hey, Charles.
Thanks
How
for
you
being
doing?
on the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm always with Charles during the PBA, so he's just like, normal,
it's chill.
Hey, Aaron, do me a favor. Can you get closer to your microphone? You sound a little airy in the background.
There you go.
I
Is this
was
better?
going to send you
I
a
don't know.
message, but you know what? Screw it. I'll just tell you here.
All right, there you go.
Now you sound 10 times better.
There you
Charles, finally, it's nice to have you back on another show that I'm on. I always look forward to you being on the program. I know you're young, you're hip. You know your basketball.
I look forward to
friends.
getting embarrassed by you.
Oh,
Actually,
no.
I don't.
I
look
do.
forward.
I do pick on Charles a little bit, and I don't even know why.
Me neither. Me neither.
It's a normal
get it.
thing.
It's a normal
It's a
thing. I
normal
shouldn't feel
thing.
bad.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm a Draymond Greenish kind of guy, just kick people in the balls, and they don't deserve it. And I apologize. I'll be kinder today. All right, what do you got?
Let's talk about your defending NBA champions. The Cleveland Cavaliers have finally found their playmaker and 6 more fouls to boot. Ladies and gentlemen, joining them this week will be Deron Williams and Andrew Bogut. Big moves here for the Cleveland Cavaliers as they have finally got the upgrade that LeBron has been whining about. Charles, what do you think?
I think it's awesome. I mean, they started the year with some scrubs, Mo Williams, Dunleavy weren't doing too much. All of those guys are gone, and now they've replaced them with 2 quality players. The D-Will obviously can still play. He's been a solid starter for the Mavs when he's not injured. Bogut will always be a vet. I'm just intrigued that Bogut's playing for the Cavs after going to war with him for 2 years and a lot of intense battles. But I think they'll be able to help the team.
Mo?
Well, Bogut's the kind of guy that goes into war with the teams once he leaves them. He's a
That is-
burn the
that
bridges
is-
kind
that
of
is
guy,
true.
right? So he's kind of had who do I hate less, when I'm
is true.
choosing between this. Now, but, after I talk about, say, my take on this Bogut and Deron, we should also maybe throw the question out. These guys are ring chasers, right?
Yes.
They've been
Yes.
waived by their teams. They're ring chasers. Why pick Cleveland over Golden State, whether it be these two guys or if we were the ones? What if we were veterans that were waived? Who would we choose? Which team would we go for a ring? Because, again, is it really just the Warriors and Cavaliers if we are ring chasers just like Deron and Andrew? Or maybe the Spurs? But again,
Yeah.
before we answer that, I think, of course, it's a solid move when you can add veteran guys who've been in the playoffs. The thing is this going to make a really big difference come playoff time? I think is another question we should ask because come playoff time, Coach Charles, you know this, the rotations are smaller and minutes are given to your stars. Deron Williams is a bit of a ball-dominant rhythm type of player. In the playoffs, those minutes are not going to be there the way he gets them on other teams and how he has had them in his past. So I don't know if it's going to be a bigger upgrade, or the savior of the bench that these guys were looking for early in the year. I think these moves are really meant for the regular season, to win games kind of towards the end of the season so they can rest guys like LeBron and Kyrie. But come playoff time, and LeBron's going to eat up those minutes. Kyrie's going to eat up those minutes. And maybe Deron's style is not going to be what they're looking for to get them in a different level, say, of Golden State, or even make them a favorite, to beat Golden State. Now, if Deron Williams hits a big three-pointer, in a Game 7, in the deep run in the playoffs, or maybe in the finals, yeah, absolutely, it'll be worth it. Sometimes that one shot is worth this signing, right? But is it going to be a big upgrade? I don't think so. I think, if anything, it would be just for the regular season. But come playoff time, again, the rotations are small. He's just not going to get the run that he's used to. And like you said earlier, Aaron, Bogut's 6 fouls at this point.
Yeah.
That's what he is. That's what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to bring a lot of rim protection. He's going to have limited minutes. Tristan Thompson, again, is going to eat up a lot of that stuff. Thompson always plays well against the Warriors, always crashes the boards and gets offensive boards against them. So I think, having Bogut out there for an extended period of time might even be more of a liability than an asset at this point. So I think not that big of a deal. More for the regular season. Come playoff time, we might not even see them contribute all that much.
Yeah, I like what you said there with the rotations getting shorter. But when you look at what we saw in the finals and in the playoffs last year, I mean, Anderson Varejao didn't really get that much run with Cleveland, but it's still a big upgrade if you're going to consider Andy Varejao to Andy Bogut. And then if you're going to see Mo Williams to Deron Williams. Mo didn't get that much run, but Deron is still an upgrade. The only thing that is still the biggest upgrade is Matt Dellavedova turning into now, a 68% 3-point shooter in the Cleveland Cavaliers with Kyle Korver. Man, that is huge. And I still like that Derek Williams pickup. I'm such a fan of that.
Yeah, the Williams pickup is fine, but I mean, I think it might even be fallacious to say, oh, okay, Dellavedova has now turned into Korver. I mean, well, guess what? Harrison Barnes has turned into Kevin Durant. It's just not realistic. I think you should just kind of really focus on what you have this season compared to stuff that happened in the past two finals, because they're different teams, different suspensions or whatever kind of things that happened at the time. I think just for this season, we should ask the question, do these moves make them the favorite to win the title against Golden State, yes or no? And the answer to me is no.
I think to me, yes, actually. I mean, for me, what they are insurance policies. If somebody gets hurt again, the Cavs like the last time against the Warriors, I mean, they'd be a better upgrade over anybody. I think D Will.
Yeah, that's right.
I think D Will is still a solid playmaker. Not too great, you're right. Minutes won't be a lot, but he seemed to be matured as a player compared to his Jazz days when he basically killed Jerry Sloan. So I think he'll be able to help the Cavs in that sense. You're right. Bogut's just 6 fouls, a guy who can set screens and intimidate people. But if for some reason a team with a big man upsets the Warriors in the final and makes the finals, I think he'll be able to help. But I think D Will's solid. I think he's another playmaker.
No, D Will is solid, but my worry there are minutes. That's the only thing. But you're right. I mean, Kyrie does have an injury history, and if he goes down, this is really a guy that is serviceable, and maybe even more than that in Deron Williams. But my problem with the signing is just really the minutes.
Yeah.
Come playoff time, we're just not going to see him a lot because you have to have Kyrie.
Probably
out there.
not. Well, last game they played 8 players against the Bucks, and they won. I mean, it may be 9 players. Their first 5, you can throw in Shumpert, Korver, Williams, Bogut.
If J.R. Smith gets healthy, when he gets healthy.
And the other Williams, maximum 9 guys.
The one thing, though, is that we are looking at, isn't it so weird that we are looking at Deron Williams and Andrew Bogut and saying that the only way that these guys are going to get play is that if there's an injury.
Yeah.
These guys are so injury prone that they are the ones that need injuries to get minutes. That is where the problem is going to be for Cleveland.
Well, it's depth. I mean, and Cleveland right now is stacked on the bench. They're coming into the playoffs, or at least at the end of this season, really with a great squad if everybody can stay healthy. I think that's what LeBron said in an interview the other day. It's just about, can everybody be healthy, 100%, maybe not even 100%, but at least ready to go come playoff time. And that's what's going to decide whether they're going to make it into the finals and win this thing is really their health. And now let me get back to the question real quick, if you guys don't mind. Ring chasers. If we were ring chasers, we were waived veterans, you going to go Cleveland, or you going to go to Golden State?
I would go to Cleveland.
I would too, because of LeBron James.
Exactly.
Basically. I mean, I know the Warriors have Curry and Durant. That's really, really tempting, but LeBron James is still LeBron James.
And I wouldn't go to San Antonio because of the fact that if I go to Cleveland, I don't have to play that much basketball. I don't have to put in that much work. I
think that's the best argument. I think that's the best argument for going to Cleveland. At least the path to the finals is
easier.
Right?
That's basically
if you're a ring chaser.
Yep.
But I would go Golden State. I think, again, and I hate to sound like a broken record, with the rotations being smaller, right? Mm-hmm. And you're a wave veteran, you're not going to get a lot of minutes. At least I'm going to have fun on the Golden State bench doing that triggered shotgun thing every time Steph hits a 3 or Clay hits a 3. I get to sit there, I get to dance around with all the guys. I feel like Cleveland doesn't have as much fun as Golden State does on the bench.
But you're gonna have to deal with Draymond. You're gonna have to deal with Draymond Green, though.
I'd rather be his teammate than get kicked in the nuts.
I'd
rather be on his team than get kicked in the balls by him.
That is a good point, though. I would rather be on your team too, Mo.
Right. I'd probably be Golden State just for that whole 3 thing, whatever they do with their arm there. But all right, next topic.
The towel spinning around and all that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Speaking of injuries, one major injury and one that could be extremely huge just happened. Over the past couple of days, Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors suffered a wrist injury that will have him out 4 to 6 weeks. That is roughly about a week before the end of the season. And a while ago, Kevin Durant had a hyperextended knee in the first 2 minutes of the game against the Washington Wizards. Now, these two players, they're 2 All-Stars, 2 very big names for both of their teams. One of them's even an MVP candidate if you really want to throw that in there. How will this affect the remainder of the league with 20 games to go? Mo?
I think Kyle Lowry's is the biggest injury of the season. I mean, this is, of course, if we find out, say, Kevin Durant has a torn ACL or something like that, then that would be the biggest one. But if it's a hyperextended knee and he can come back, sometimes that's day-to-day, sometimes it's a few weeks. But I think Kyle Lowry's is the biggest injury of the season, bigger than Chris Paul's, Jabari Parker's, Enes Kanter's, those guys of those caliber. I mean, this is a team that I thought had the best trade deadline, even better than the Pelicans, because they were able to put together a squad, the pieces they needed to lock down a number 2 seed. I really did believe that. I mean, they're coming out of the All-Star break playing great, even with Lowry there. With Lowry not there, Serge has looked great. PJ Tucker's been fine. So I thought this was going to be the scary team in the last 20 games. But with Kyle Lowry's injury, that really just doesn't make them the second best team in the league. So that's why I think this is a big one. Now, like you said, this is an injury that will get him back into the playoffs, but they're not going to have enough time gelling with their new pieces, I think, to really do damage.
Yes.
I think the thing with Toronto these past few seasons, why they get bounced in the playoffs, is because they're very predictable. You know that Lowry and DeRozan are going to get their shots, and in a series, coach, again, you might know this, that you can adjust to that. In the regular season, the adjustments are so minor. You get usually a shoot around or a day before practice to get ready for a team. But when you have a playoff series, you get to practice for this specific squad. And Lowry and DeRozan, that backcourt is so predictable come playoff time. That's why I think they don't really give you a big threat. Now that though they have Ibaka, Tucker, it's a really balanced, I don't know, stacked is a strong word, but a really good, solid team that I think was probably the favorite to go to the Eastern Conference Finals to meet the Cavs. With the injury to Lowry, though, man, they just don't have enough. They might not have enough time to gel with that squad to make the conference finals, and that's my worry. I really, really liked Toronto at the trade deadline, and I think this Kyle Lowry injury is just so huge.
Charles?
Oh, I'm going to have to agree with Mo there. Actually, there are only 3 teams in the East. That's the Celtics, the Raptors, and the Cavs, basically. The only good thing I can see is that Kyle Lowry, though, it's a wrist injury. It's not a knee injury, none of that. So he gets the wrist back. At least he can still play. That's one good thing. It won't take him too long to get back into his groove. He won't lose his rhythm like if it's a bad knee injury or a freak, foot injury. But you're right. The most important thing basically is the chemistry part. To beat a team like Cleveland, you're going to have to be a team.
Yeah.
You don't LeBron is still the best player. Irving is still the best scorer. You've got Lowry and DeRozan. They're both great scorers. But it's going to take more than those two. And you've got to be a team. And they've got great pieces in Ibaka and Tucker at the deadline. But they're going to have to figure out how to play with Kyle Lowry. And it's not going to be easy for them because the Raptors, let's face it, they do have a good system. They're run by a good coach. They play as a team, but that's not going to be enough at this point.
Do you see them dropping past 4? Where because they are tied with Washington right now. Do you see Atlanta, Indiana, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, any of these teams passing them moving forward?
No.
Mo? Charles?
No.
Only the Wizards may have the chance for me because they're playing at a really high level.
The Wizards are at
especially
third
at home,
now.
especially at home, and they just beat the Warriors today.
I don't think they drop lower than 4,
and that's where it's gonna suck.
Just because
problem is you don't want
to
be at 4, 2 or 3.
Right. You don't want to be at 4 because then of course you get Cleveland in the second round. But at the same time, at least you get home court in that first round. I don't know. I mean, this one's a tough one. I mean, if I was to be 4, I'd rather just drop to 6.
Yes,
that's true.
I agree.
But I think the other teams are too inconsistent to get past them. I mean, the Hawks just lost to the Magic. I mean, it's crazy.
And Indiana's not going to be putting anything together to really get into a position where they're going to be able to pass the Toronto Raptors. I agree with Mo. I loved the moves that they made. I've always been a big PJ Tucker fan when he was with the Suns, for obvious reasons. And of course, Serge Ibaka was so good when he had other pieces around him, and that's why it didn't work in Orlando. And I think that this could be disastrous for Toronto. I also agree with Charles that that they're lucky that it's just surgery to remove certain little bodies out of the wrist. You might be able to come back sooner than later, like how Chris Paul did. But the gelling is going to be a concern. Now, KD's injury, worst case scenario, hyperextended, minor ACL strain. He's gone for 2 to 3 weeks. Does that do damage to Golden State?
No, not at all. I mean, they'll be fine. And they probably won't even rush him back. They don't need him till the playoffs. Maybe not even till the second round.
They already clinched a playoff berth. So
they can break him in slowly. There's no rush. Unless, you're right, if it's an ACL, then goodbye. They're screwed, basically.
Yeah. I doubt that. It didn't look like it would be a tear. Maybe a sprain, maybe a strain. 2 or 3 weeks for good measure. If he's gone for that long, do you see San Antonio taking over?
No, I don't think so.
No, yeah, because you still have 3 All NBA players on that team. I mean, again, it's just the next.
I think
next
Steph
best All-Star step up.
I think Steph will start to play better again without Kevin
sure.
Durant.
Oh God,
Sure.
Steph needs to start playing better because
for
Steph
sure.
has been playing horrible
Is he?
basketball.
Is he? No,
For
let
his
me talk
standards,
about
for
that.
his standards,
Well,
though.
again, is he right? Okay, so the thing I think Steph has been a little bit of is getting a little bullied and maybe unrightfully pointed a finger at because yes, he's not in the MVP conversation for a guy who's 1 to 2 MVPs in a row. Fine, there are things highlighted like he went 0 for 11 from 3-point range the other day. Which was kind of odd because on February 27 last year, he hit 12 3-pointers in a game. And then, Feb 27 of this year, he tied the NBA record for most missed threes without making one. So he was 0 for 11. Now, are the numbers, or is Steph worse? Is he lesser of a player? Is he less dominant than what we've seen in the past? Let's check out the stats real quick. I'll try to breeze through this as fast as I can. So this season he's 25, 4, and 6. We knew the 25 was going to go down. He was 30 last year with 30 points, right?
Yeah.
We knew that was going to go down because of course Kevin Durant, is on the team. He's hitting 1.7 steals. He's hitting 4 threes a game. He's shooting 46% from the field. Those are solid numbers. In his 2015 NBA MVP season, he scored less points, 23. He was 23, 4, and 7, so that's about the same as he's doing right now. He's got a steal more, 48% from the field, which is still comparable to what he's doing now, and he only hit 3 3-pointers per game. So he's having a better season now than he did in the MVP season of 2015. It's just was last season so otherworldly that we think that he's in some kind of decline?
Yes.
He's having a freaking great year for a team that is historically offensively dominant.
I think he just set the bar too high, basically, for everybody. Now you expect the world from him. But whether it's fair or not, it's happened in the past. Steve Nash won back-to-back MVPs in the third year. Could have had a case to win that. I think even with MJ, guys get so tired of voting about them when there's new storylines, better players to talk about, and that's what's happening right now. Steph's been okay.
You know what?
And I think the line you said right there, storyline. It's sometimes it's really not your numbers. It's the storyline of the competition. Russell Westbrook with the triple-double. James Harden with the crazy numbers. That Golden State's the best team in the NBA, and they're not getting a lot of MVP love because the narrative isn't strong with Golden State.
And because
right
they
now.
just see,
There's
hey,
too
Kevin Durant was just added, so he's supposed to be. They're just supposed to be that good. So it's not
a
fair.
bit unfair.
Yeah, it is.
It's a bit unfair also with LeBron. Like you said it earlier.
Yeah.
LeBron's the best player in the world, yet he's not in the MVP conversation either, yet he could probably win it every year because he's the best player every single year.
Well, the best indication for me with LeBron is that basically when he sits out, they lose, and I think they're 0-5 or something like that when he's sat out.
When in terms of setting the bar high, it's kind of like Charles Tiu's life. I mean, he dates supermodel after supermodel after supermodel, and then when I see him out and I'm like, oh, this is not a supermodel. What is going on, Charles? What? And then he's like, oh no, we're just friends. That's the thing.
What is this?
You set
This
the
is
bar
basketball. I
so
thought
high.
this was basketball.
Yeah, how did this happen? When did this? No, but here, okay.
I'm just saying. I just wanted to throw that shade in.
With Steph, though, I think it's a little unfair. Yes, maybe the bar is high, but people are taking shots at him.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball's dad said, "Oh, my son's going to be
That's
better
crazy.
than next
I hate-
Steph Curry."
I hate that
Shut
guy.
the hell up, old man. Sacramento's owner, Buddy Hield. Oh, he's the next Steph Curry. That's why we traded DeMarcus Cousins for him. That's an insult. And of course, LeBron, who probably has a little bit more credibility to talk crap, he says there's no way that you can talk about rivalries and then say LeBron and Steph. That's impossible. You can't do it. So a lot of hate coming Steph's way for what is called a down year. But when you look at the numbers, when you look at the standings, you know what? It's MVP caliber. Maybe just not this year because the narrative isn't as sexy, but I don't think he's in decline. I think he's having a fine year, and we should all kind of just get, lean back a little bit with it. Yeah, chill a little bit with the hate.
I will agree that his numbers are still amazing. They're still they're still
Elite.
Elite level. They're just
For sure.
I mean, we were treated to unworldly. We were treated
we got
to
spoiled.
freaking godlike numbers. I mean, sliders on 100 in NBA 2K17.
And then the crazy shot. The crazy shots from half court, all these-
We saw that, and you see it this year. And I guess when you see that he's human, you just it's the same way that when we saw LeBron human. You guys are right. I mean, we just gotta move on and see what's going to happen next. Can he bring the narrative his way? And obviously, that's just not going to happen for this season.
Oh, that's not going to happen in 20 games.
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of the last
All right.
20 games, who do you think will have the best record with the last 20 games of the season?
Each conference or entire NBA?
Let's do each conference, and then from there, between the two, who do you think is going to have the best record? Because this is it. This is winning time. This is why you rested in the start, and then this is why you're also going to be resting towards the end. If you have some gap between you and the rest of the league, who will have the best record?
Oh man,
with 20
I
games
would
to
have
go?
easily said the Raptors in the Eastern Conference.
Very
Just
easily.
freaking, there wasn't that that was an injury. I would probably say Cleveland. I think they come in strong. A coach, you again, because you're the pro of the group, you want to come into the playoffs hot. It does seem like in all major sports, the hot team that comes into the playoffs tend to do a lot better than they're supposed to, or just flat out dominate. So I think the Cavaliers are going to finish strong here, especially with there was a little frustration going on in early part of the year, and with the Raptors having that big injury. As for the West, I mean, again, maybe too easy of an answer with the Warriors because of what they are on paper, but I'm going to say Oklahoma City will rival
nice.
that. I think they made some great moves at the trade deadline in bringing in Gibson and bringing in McDermott. I think that solidifies this team not to win a championship, not to show up in the Western Conference Finals, but to make life easier for Russell Westbrook. They're on a 3-game winning streak since coming back from the break, and I think with the pieces they have and with the help that they were able to give Russell, we're going to see the Thunder do some really special things. And I think they're poised to seed higher because you don't want to meet Golden State or you don't want to meet San Antonio in the first round. I think I would love to see an Oklahoma City and Houston Rockets first round where you get Harden and Westbrook going at it in the first round. That would be fantastic. And for that to happen, they have to probably fall in the 6th seed, and they're half a game out of that. So I think they might even get up all the way to the 5th seed. Who knows? We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, for me, we're talking about best team record-wise,
Yes,
right?
record-wise.
Not just playing.
Yeah.
And my only thing with the Cavs and the Warriors, like with the Spurs, is that they get up there. They're probably going to rest some guys 1 or 2, 3 games, and that may be a big difference. If I'm not mistaken, the Wizards actually have played the best basketball since the start of the year. They're a good candidate for me, together with the Celtics, just because, as you mentioned, none of these teams want to end up number 4 and play the Cavs in the second round. And with a good window of opportunity right now, because the Raptors are, hurting, I think that's a chance for them. But the team I'd really like to look at, or I think will be the best, is the Rockets. Just because I think they're a great regular season team, just like any team Mike D'Antoni's coach. They're great for the regular season when you don't have to adjust every game. As you said, there's such short time to prepare. You just let them go and score, and they're tough to stop. So I think they may end up playing the best basketball because they've also been hot lately.
That's a good choice.
I will agree with the Washington Wizards. I love the pieces that they put together. They just signed Brandon Jennings as well. He's going to be joining the team tomorrow. So they have finally a bench that we were questioning for so long.
Cancer though to any team.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be on a team that has cancer, it might as well be with John Wall and Bradley Beal. You know what I mean?
That is true.
That might as well. For the West, I'm going to go outside the box here. I think Utah
I was thinking
would
that
be
too. That's a good choice.
a good team in the last 20 games. They want to get out of that 4th spot. They're 4 games behind Houston. They're a team that can win on the road. They have pretty much the same record with home and away games. And they're a very defensive-minded team with the Stifle Tower there. I think Utah could make a push and finish somewhere in the maybe 15-5 range with 20 games to go. I think that that would be the 2 teams that you should look out for the remainder of the season. Okay.
All good choices. Yeah.
Let's move on to our final debate, or our final topic for today. And of course, it is our Gilas topic. And if you guys didn't know, the PBA recently just announced the format for which the All-Star Game will be played. So the PBA All-Star Week weekend will no longer be just on the weekend. It's going to be an entire 7-day thing where Gilas will be playing 3 games. On April 26th, they will be playing the PBA Mindanao All-Stars. On the 28th, they will be playing against the PBA Luzon All-Stars. And on the 30th, they will be playing against the PBA Visayas All-Stars. Now, for instance, you are Junmar Fajardo. You cannot play for Gilas when your region is playing. So I guess you won't be playing in the Visayas region, right? Get that right?
Yes.
Yes, I got that right. My geography is horrible. But yes, so the question here is, if the Gilas players are not going to be playing when they're in their region, does that hurt, or what does this really do for Gilas?
Yeah.
Does this bond the team? Does this gel the team better? Charles, as a coach that has been out of the country with a team, what is that like?
Well, for me, there are two things with this whole topic. For the All-Star Game, I understand. It's for the fans.
Yes.
You want to change things, make it a bit more exciting. It's good in that sense for the PBA. But for Gilas, I don't see where it can help them. Look, it's great that you're playing 3 different games in 3 different cities, but how are you going to help getting any games when your main players are playing for the other team? It just doesn't make sense to me. The best would be for them to have their full team and just play in these different cities rather than, you already don't have enough time to prepare. You're going to have 3 games, and your main players in each game will be playing for the other team. It doesn't make sense, and I don't see how it can really help Gilas.
Mo?
I think the line you used a couple times there, Charles, which is it doesn't make sense. That's probably the slogan that the PBA should live by anyway, because they're so incredibly confusing about anything they get involved in. So I am not surprised by this, whatever the hell it's called. I'm with you, Charles, man. I think the Gilas should just play as a team, and that be the kind of that would be the showcase. You get to see the team play against the 3 major regions. And not have to switch the team from, if you're from the Visayas, you have to play for the Visayan team. You can't play on Gilas even though you're on Gilas. But then, hey, when we play the Mindanao squad, you could be. It's just so confusing. But, hey, you know what? It's the PBA. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what, we're not shocked.
The one thing, though, I will agree that it is confusing. I have no idea, who should be playing on what team and who's not. But the one thing is that this is a Coach Chot type of move. He is the type of coach that loves to see his players bond. And if it takes 1 week that they are inseparable, that they are together in the hotel room, in the airport, on the plane, in the bus, going to the arena, bonding as a pool, that is something that Coach Chot always loves.
That's really valuable. Fans don't see that a lot. Really, chemistry is everything in a team. You spend more time, it helps you a lot. But how is playing against your teammates going to help you? Again, it's good for the PBA. I understand where they're coming from, even if Mo doesn't really. You want it for the fans, though. But for Gilas, though, how does it help Gilas? They're better off just playing as a team. You don't have time already. You want to get them to gel. And these teams, they're all-star games. You want to be preparing against teams that actually run a system. Just make them join the PBA or something like that. I don't know.
I agree. You were part of that Gilas team that joined the PBA.
When every team was out to hurt us.
Yes,
but yes.
because we're not on this team, But I again, maybe bonding, some kumbaya together. Maybe eating at the hotel, staying in different roommates. Every trip will be good for the team. All we know is that there has to be some good to come out of this, because if not, we've wasted a week of training.
Yes.
That is it right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We're going to cut to a break. When we return, we have your debate topics, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go one-on-one. Join us here on Ball Hogs PH. Welcome back, everybody, to Ball Hogs PH. It is part of the show where you guys get to debate us with topics that you bring to the table. It's Aaron Tide, Mo Twister, Charles Tiu. And joining us right now is a man that won one UAAP championship, which still, until now,
Great
hurts.
school. Great school.
He was a UAAP co-finals MVP with Larry Fonacher, and probably the biggest legend. And when I say biggest, I'm not talking about the legend itself, but of the myth behind.
I've heard of this.
Mr. Wesley Gonzales joining us right now. What's up, Wes?
What's up, guys? It's just a myth.
It's
not true.
Loch Ness monster. That's right. Yeah.
It's not true. That's not true.
All right, Wes. You got Mo and Charles here. What is your debate topic?
Well, the best international player ever.
Okay, best
international player. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Well, this is a tough one, I think. And we were talking about this a little bit off air. because the choices seem to be only down to two guys, Hakeem Olajuwon and Dirk Nowitzki. There are other names that can probably be there to be argued. Arvydas Sabonis. Charles, you said Pau Gasol, my favorite player all time, Pau Gasol. Drazen, Petrovic, Yao Ming,
Steve Nash,
Patrick Ewing, Steve
Nash.
Nash.
Oh, you had to throw a
Sure.
Suns guy
Should
in.
be able to
Manu
get
Ginobili.
consideration.
Manu, eh? That's a good, yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
likely a Hall of Famer, right? But I mean, really, when you're saying all time, it seems like it's only two names that stick out, and it's Dirk and Hakeem. It's either or. So I got to ask you, Wesley, who are you picking from those two guys?
I'm picking Hakeem.
Hakeem, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you give
That's a
your
good choice.
that's the right choice. Okay.
All right.
Charles, do you agree or will you go Dirk?
It's tough for me. I mean, you look at their career numbers; they're really pretty much even. Of course, Hakeem has.
Before you give the bullets away for somebody else, do you agree or do you disagree? Do you say Dirk or do you say Hakeem?
I'll let Mo do the fighting. I'll stick with Hakeem.
You stay with Hakeem.
Man.
I will say Hakeem as
So
well.
Charles is going to help me here.
Yeah,
No, I want to
he's
listen.
not.
I'm gonna listen.
No, they'll be able to help you after
Yeah,
the
after.
debate. They'll put their points in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Listen, I'm 1 and 1A, on this one.
Yep, me too.
I might lead towards Hakeem, kind of top of the head, but because it's 1 and 1A, I might be able to give an argument for Dirk. So I'm gonna go Dirk. I like
Okay.
Dirk better anyway, so
Uh-huh.
I'll actually go with my guy. So let's do it, man.
All
oh
right.
God, I feel like I'm gonna get my ass kicked here.
All right, Wes,
Okay.
go ahead. What are your debate points? And make your argument on why Hakeem Olajuwon is the greatest international NBA basketball player of all time.
Well, he's won 2 championships with Houston. He had an MVP award, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Dream Shake. What more can I say?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's impacted the game. Kobe, LeBron. Getting those moves from Hakeem. I think that's a good argument also.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Anything else you
Is
want to
that
add?
It's kind of choppy.
Yeah. Is there anything
Yeah.
else that you want to add, Wes?
Is that it?
Yeah, probably that's it.
Okay. All right. Ooh.
Okay.
So
Most
you
like, is that it? Huh?
You leave some room.
Oh.
Leave some room here. All right.
Here we
It's
go.
hard to debate with Mo.
Mr. Kumatay, it is.
I know, but listen, I like debates. I enjoy them. Sometimes I know I'm bullshitting even myself, but I enjoy getting into them. This one's going to be a hard one, I have to admit, but let's get to it. All right, so yeah, when you talk about Hakeem, well, first of all, let's talk about the topic itself. This is your topic. Who's the best international player of all time? Are we talking about the NBA or really what they've done for basketball? Period. Both of them have had such great, contributions to the sport. But I think Dirk being such a dominant European force, not just an NBA force, but he was like, what were some of the accolades he had? FIBA Eurobasket MVP, World Cup top scorer in the years that he's played. So there's a lot of stuff he's done internationally. But let's talk about the NBA real quick. Yes, like you said, NBA Finals MVP one year, NBA champion, just like Hakeem Olajuwon, revolutionized the position, being a stretch four, the one to truly do it better than everybody else. Going down as one of the great shooters of all time, surpassed Hakeem Olajuwon in offensive numbers like points scored even 2 years ago when he did that. Didn't come into the league lighting the place up on fire. Had to really kind of adjust before he came this dominant person. And of course, one of only 7 people to do 50, 40, 90, which is such a great big stat for me. Like if you can do 50, 40, 90, you have put yourself in elite conversation of among the greatest players, offensive players in the history of the game. Hakeem's got him beat defensively. I can't really do that. But was Hakeem really that dominant? Only 5 times All-NBA first team. I know that's a really big achievement, but you take a guy like Kobe Bryant, 11 times, or 9 times All-NBA first team, 3 times All-NBA second team, and that's just like Kobe, who sometimes you forget is a dominant NBA defensive player. So I think the Hakeem defense is where he gets him, but was Hakeem truly that amazing? I mean,
I think it's more of like being a complete player.
Right.
Olajuwon
Yeah, go ahead.
has defense and he has offense. He he won MVP, then he won a championship, and he won Defensive Player of the Year for those 3 awards in 1 year.
Yeah, and that's a fine argument, and I think that's the angle that you should really take is we're talking about a complete player, two-way player. Hakeem Olajuwon, yeah, one of the greatest of all time, but is Dirk Nowitzki's offensive game so much at a different level that it makes up for his defensive, lack of defensive prowess? I might say yes. I just think what he's been able to do with the frame, even up to this very, at his, what is he, going to be 39 this year? He can still ball. When you see a lot of guys hit 39 really much in decline, Tim Duncan was in big decline. A lot of guys his age, they don't age very well, but Dirk has. He's still able to put up really quality numbers. He'll have a 2010 game even up to this year at his age 39 year. So I think he's aged well. And the hardware is there for Dirk. The revolutionizing of the game is there for Dirk. The international appeal is there for Dirk. I like him a little bit more than Hakeem Olajuwon.
All right. So with that being said, Charles, your thoughts. Who do you think won the debate?
I might have to go with Mo there. I mean, obviously, it's tough to win against Mo, but
No. But like in terms of the points, what do you think?
I think they both had great points. Obviously, and Mo's right. Dirk won a bunch of games, and he's going to be able to play much longer because he can hit the outside shot. He's still fit for the NBA right now, especially with the way the game's evolved. He's just perfectly fit for it. But with that being said, I'd still say one-on-one in a basketball game, Hakeem would beat Dirk, and that would be the that might be the
I'm with you there.
That might be the edge
point.
for me.
You were saying, Wes?
The game's different now. It's played outside, not like before it was really played inside. So I think it took a toll on Olajuwon having that kind of game. It's not a ball game, so it's advantage to Dirk. The game.
Well, Wes, if I may, and I hate to cut you off, in 2013, Michael Jordan said that Dirk Nowitzki is only one of 4 players who would be as dominant as they are now in his era. LeBron, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki. He said those are the only 4 guys in the modern game that if you put them in my era, where, the style that you're talking about, would still have been just as dominant because they are such great NBA players.
The game when he was Jordan in that era.
Impacted, Dirk revolutionized.
Yes,
with his ability.
I would agree with that.
And Dirk is tough. I mean,
Yeah,
he's white, but he's tough.
I mean, Dirk is the type of player that, he started the whole stretch 4, and I agree with Mo on that. I mean, there is no better stretch 4 that we've ever seen in the game.
7 feet.
7 feet tall.
Foot stretch.
I mean,
Right.
he changed the way that he's paved the way for the Porzingises in the world. I mean, he changed the way that the big man is played. The thing is, Hakeem mastered the old school big man role. I mean, he was the best at it. But because of that, Dirk changed the game with the way that he played. So I will still agree with Wes. I will still agree that Hakeem is the greatest international NBA player of all time. But if you want to talk about revolutionizing stuff, that is why Dirk is so much in the conversation that if you pick either one, it's totally fine with me.
Yep.
All right, I agree.
All right. Let me ask you this though, real quick, just for conversation's sake, just because we got Charles here, we got Wesley. Wes, you brought up the Dream Shake, one of the greatest go-to moves of all time. Dirk's got the one-leg shot, also one of the greatest NBA moves, like singular NBA weapons of all time. Who's got the better weapon, the Dream Shake or the one-legged 7-footer one-legged shot to shoot over anybody?
Well, in the game, I think it's the one-legged shot by Dirk, but. Probably before this era, it was the Dream Shake because everyone's doing the Dream Shake. Even LeBron, Kobe tried to adapt the Dream Shake.
Charles?
Yep.
Well, I'd say the Dream Shake is really, you're faking your guy out. But like the skyhook, you just can't block that 7-foot one-legged shot, and that's why it's a bit more unstoppable for me.
Yeah, I will agree. I like the one-legged one because of the main fact that if Wesley Gonzales does the one-legged fadeaway.
Oh, he does that too.
He might poke you in the eye and with something, and you will go blind for the rest of your life. Wes, thank you for joining us on the show, buddy. It's always fun hanging out with you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
great points,
Thank you.
Wes. Thanks, man. Yeah, you won this one, but it was a good one. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, Wes.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you know, the one-legged shot was so good that even Steve Nash at 6'1", whatever one was using it, it's so effective. But Charles, you know what? I think you brought up a great point. The skyhook is the greatest singular weapon, I think, in the history of basketball. It was the most unstoppable shot.
You can't block that stuff.
Yeah, and no one can ever do it. Like everybody's got a baby hook. No one's got the sky hook. No one has ever copied it. Like again, we see maybe, like I said, Nash would copy the one-legged one, or maybe even to this point, Kristaps Porzingis is, and then a lot of other guys were doing the dream shake, as he brought up with Kobe and LeBron. No one has ever been able to replicate the sky hook. It's all little mini versions of a baby hook. But the skyhook was so unstoppable until this very day. I think it is by far the greatest one-on-one shot or singular dominant move in the history of the NBA.
I should start teaching that to some kids. Except they're not
Dude,
17.
Exactly.
sincerely, right?
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
All
All right, Wesley. Thanks, brother.
Let's move on. And our next caller is Hill Randa. Hill, are you there?
Hello po. Good morning po.
Hello,
Good
Hill.
evening.
All right.
Hill.
Hill.
Shout out po.
Wait, Hill. Jesus. All right, hold on. Hill off air was like, can I shout out to my friends? And we're telling him stop it because we're not on air yet. And all he wanted to do was shout out. And we said we'd give him the green light at the end of the debate. But apparently Hill cannot wait. So Hill, sige na, batiin mo mga kaibigan mo. And then let's go.
Shout out po sa mga tropang gala dito po sa Bigutan City.
Ang ganda.
Opo, mga ano po kami, avid fan po kami talaga ni Mo Twister.
Ayan, ang ganda. Ang ganda.
Well,
ang ganda.
thank you. Well,
Sir Mo, talaga ano po kami, avid fan po nung nandun pa po kayo sa papanood namin kayo sa TV.
Ang ganda.
Tropang ano to? What was this? Tropang what again?
Tropang gala po, tropang gala.
Tropang
Okay,
gala.
thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tropang Gala.
Okay,
Okay, sige, Hill.
What is your basketball topic? Let's get
Sir, my basketball topic po, sir, is ano po, do you think the actuations of Shaquille O'Neal is borderline bullying and it could cost JaVale McGee's work to provide for his family?
Aha.
So and this is a really, really good topic,
Yeah.
Hill. You're asking, does what Shaquille O'Neal does on the TNT, is it Inside NBA is the name of the program,
Inside
right?
NBA.
The Shaqtin A Fool. Is that a form of bullying, and does it damage JaVale McGee's reputation as
Yes,
a
sir.
basketball player? Something he's trying to clean up as now he's maturing and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. What's your answer? Is it bullying? Is it damaging his reputation or not?
Yes, opo, I think it's no longer analytical.
Okay. No, wait.
In a sense.
Wag
Yep,
ka muna magana.
okay, that's it.
Okay,
That's it.
wag
Yeah,
muna.
for now.
Mo, you think it's bullying?
Well, listen, he said that Tropang Gala is a big thing of mine. So,
And I know that's what you've been aiming for.
I'm forced to agree with this guy that I think it's bullying, and I absolutely think it's permanently damaging JaVale McGee's reputation.
All
I
right.
actually honestly believe that.
Charles?
Borderline bullying, maybe, but not bullying.
Okay. All right. For me, as a broadcaster, I will say it is not bullying. So I guess.
Hey, I just said as a broadcaster also that
Yeah.
it is.
no, as a sportscaster.
Gotcha.
As a
You're right,
sportscaster.
you're right.
I will say it's not bullying. So, Hill, you get to choose whether you will debate either myself or Charles Chu.
Can you debate with Aaron? I just want to
Yeah,
listen.
say Aaron. Hoy, Hill. Aaron.
Aaron,
As a broadcaster daw eh.
Aaron po.
Aaron po. Hello po. Good evening po sa inyo. All right, Hill, bakit? Why do you think it is bullying? And then from there, we will
Sir,
start.
before I give my argument, can I ask you, sir, first, how would you describe the word bullying as a
Ayun.
broadcaster?
Hindi.
Galing,
Okay.
He looks like a pro debater.
Wow.
Good luck.
Wow.
Aaron.
Man. Si Aaron talaga. I as a broadcaster, I don't know. I mean, if I was bullied in high school, so it's I guess degrading to some extent that is not merited.
Would you agree with me, sir, if I state the fact that bullying is a form na kung saan po you're degrading the person's image or personality of the person to the point that it would cost him his personality o pananaw ng ibang tao sa kanya. Would you agree with me, sir?
I guess so, yeah.
Yes or no lang po?
Yes. Wow.
Wow. Sorry, attorney, counselor.
Hill,
I love it.
Where is
I
this
love
coming
it.
from?
Hill,
Oh
my man. I love this guy. Hill, you're my fucking guy. All right, hold on. Okay, so now that we've defined that, and I love the leading question
Right?
because
I
now it
loved
sets
it.
up it sets
Yeah.
up the point for Aaron to lose here. Okay, it's probably against debate rules, but who cares? Let's hear your stand. Why do you think it's bullying, Hill?
Number one, it's bullying po. Since, number one, si Shaquille O'Neal po his role is analysis. So he has to give his analysis kung paano po maglaro ang isang player. And what they did with JaVale McGee is not analysis anymore because he's been the butt of jokes for the past 5 years. And if you're analyzing a certain thing or act of the player, you should give one or yung parang that would cause that player to be a better player or to improve on certain skills. But what they did in Shaqtin A Fool, sir, is no longer analysis. It's antagonizing a player. Na kung saan, you're just making butt of jokes doon sa mga actuations ng player without giving out some help to improve his yung kakulangan ng isang player. And number two, sir, since ito pong basic right ng isang karapatan ng tao is to have yung magkaroon siya ng isang kabuhayan. And for the past 5 years, alam naman po natin na hindi naman po ganun kagaling maglaro itong si JaVale McGee to the extent na if you're the owner or general manager, since nabibigyan ka ng information na hindi ganun kagaling maglaro siya, so yung kakayanan ng player or yung capability niya to play is in question na po, na yung personality niya will be in question. And for him to provide for his family is nababawasan. At ito pong information na nanggagaling since si Shaquille O'Neal yan versus JaVale McGee, coming from a if I'm not mistaken, four times na champion, MVP, Hall of Famer, to a JaVale McGee, mas meron pong credibility compared to sa isang tao. And I think for 5 years run, na wala ka naman na
This is the greatest
ibibigay.
debater we've ever had on the show. Yeah.
So,
Okay, continue. Sorry.
nabibigay,
cut off.
di ba, nabibigay na improvements if we will try to play back lahat ng kanilang pinlay sa Shaqtin A Fool, wala naman po si Shaquille O'Neal na binigay na improvements on how will JaVale McGee improve his so-called FOPA na mga laro. So, it's no longer an analysis, sir. It's more of antagonizing a player. Therefore, it's bullying.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Wow. Hey, what do you do for a living, Hill?
Ako po,
Yes.
Oh.
as ano po ako, teacher po ako.
No
God.
shit.
Yes.
Yeah, what a shocker.
You
Yeah, you're
should
great.
Freaking
Hey,
teach me now.
Yeah. Aaron, good luck.
Yeah. Okay. So, as a sportscaster, we understand that there are certain segments that come into a show. Shaqtin A Fool you have to understand that it is not a segment for analysis. It is a comedic state. It is a comedic segment of the show. I mean, aside from actually, when you look at Shaq when he's on the table with Ernie Johnson, with Kenny Smith, with Charles Barkley, that's when he brings out the analytics. That's when he brings out his analysis of the game, when he breaks it down, and then that's when he says his inputs on the game. But the Shaqtin A Fool part has zero analysis whatsoever. So it's not JaVale in particular. It's everyone in the league. Now, if JaVale is the person that is at the butt of the jokes, it's because that he is putting himself in those situations. Now, if you would say that Shaq's quote-unquote analysis and treatment of JaVale McGee, it reflects that he might lose his job, it hasn't happened. I mean, if he's been going at JaVale McGee for the existence of Shaqtin A Fool, which is about 4 or 5 years now, we have not seen the decline in the job of JaVale. In fact, because of how things have gone for JaVale, he's been able to extend out an 8-year career in the NBA, including teams with Washington, Denver, of course, where he was most known for his quote-unquote JaVale-ness, Dallas and now Golden State, where he is having an incredible season with the team. Did Shaq ever say that he is a lackluster player? Did he ever say that he didn't know how to play basketball? No. He was just saying that there are times where JaVale is not really, his head isn't completely in the game. He took the same amount of attention that he put at JaVale that he does at each and every person. I watched the award show, the one that JaVale is talking about. He ripped J.R. Smith apart for giving Jason Terry a high five and leaving his man and the guy scoring. He tore him to pieces, and he does it to everyone. Now, is this bullying?
Not for 5 years.
No, well, if J.R. Smith was doing
Not
it for
for
5
5
if J.R.
years, sir.
Smith was doing it for 5 years, then he would be getting it as well. Otto Porter last year was won the Shaqtin A Fool MVP. But look at what happened to Otto Porter. Otto
great
Porter
right
is
now.
now one of the best players in fantasy basketball right now. See, if you were able to maybe get I will still throw that up every now and then. But I mean, if you want to say that it ruins his brand, well, I mean, you have to look at stand-up comedians and say that all of those stand-up comedians that take shots at Donald Trump that have been doing it.
Sir's role is totally different from what Shaquille O'Neal's role inside the TNT.
No.
Number one,
This guy's got you, man.
Shaquille O'Neal's
fact-
role, number one role, is not for comedic role.
Yes,
It's for analysis. They showcases him, or he gives him, he's there for analysis. Yes, I admit, sir, that particular segment is for comedic
Yes, exactly. So
purposes.
you
but they don't have any disclaimer for the viewers. We can understand that. You can understand that, sir, because you're part of broadcasting. That
Yes.
the segment is there because for comedic purposes. But if you're the viewer and there are no disclaimer stating, sir, that that's for comedic purposes, I will take Shaquille O'Neal's opinion as analysis. So if that's a form of analysis for me, and that's how he sees JaVale McGee for me, then I will take hold on that statement and I will take it as a Bible fact na parang sinabi naman ni Shaquille O'Neal yung ganyan
No, but
tungkol kay
see,
JaVale McGee.
yeah.
Listen,
You lost it
All right,
there. You lost it there. Okay.
Let's put this to the test. Let's just
to the vote.
Charles,
Okay.
you and I.
Wait,
Yeah,
can,
let's
can I
vote
just,
on
can
this
I
one.
just throw on one
Yeah,
thing?
go ahead.
This is my only stand on this thing. Look, JaVale McGee, 2014, made more money than Steph Curry,
Yes.
Tim Duncan, Steve Nash.
Ah,
If you're making that much money, my
You can
goodness,
make
you
fun
better
of me.
you better be doing something right. You ain't getting paid to make yourself a fool.
52 million.
You can't be making crazy mistakes like
guys,
that. Look,
come on, no.
that's what I'm saying. You gotta be ready to accept that.
Well, that's
Okay.
a fallacy, and a lot of your arguments, Aaron, are fallacies, and that's why I.
Hey, man,
I
a
come
lot
to
of
the
your
defense.
arguments are fallacies, too.
No, they're not, because I'm sensitive about fallacies.
He's
no,
rolling
so
up
they're
his
not.
sleeve right now. He's
No. Listen. In fact, this will be a fallacy, but you are the JaVale McGee of this argument, and
Yeah.
this guy's the Shaquille O'Neal. You are getting taken apart. I think what the guy said, Hill, in that Shaq is a credible personality in basketball, and when he singles out a guy for 5 years, will it hurt his reputation? Is it bullying? The answer is 100% yes. In fact, while you said it has not affected JaVale McGee, you are very wrong, Aaron. In fact, his own coach, Steve Kerr, said it has damaged his reputation, that because of Shaqtin A Fool, when JaVale McGee was signed on to the Golden State Warriors, he thought less of JaVale McGee, and it was only McGee's contribution to the Warriors this season that made him change his opinion about his own player. He said, yeah, absolutely. When we brought JaVale in, I had a lot of preconceived notions about him. His reputation was very damaged with me because of Shaqtin the Fool. I thought we were getting a fool, and now we're not. He is a important piece to this team, a rotation guy that does his job, and I can't, and Steve said this word for word, I can't be any more wrong about JaVale now that he's on.
Ikaw po ang idol ko, Sir Mo.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. You're going to make me forget what I'm saying. Shut up for now. So I think you're really wrong about that stance of it hasn't hurt McGee. It really has. In fact, his own coach was, his opinion of how good of a basketball player was diluted because of 5 years of bullying. Now, where's the true bullying in all of this, right? It's when Shaquille O'Neal then, in his defense, threatens violence to JaVale McGee.
That is where I agree.
that's continued bullying. Again, it just reconfirms what's going on here. That Shaquille has a vendetta of some kind against JaVale, has for years pinpointed against JaVale, and it has hurt his brand. Yeah, it really has. Now, sorry, lastly, the argument of salaries and all of that stuff, man. Listen, that's a funny angle, Charles. But there are 78 guys right now or 80 guys getting paid more than Steph Curry is right now this season. It was 50 last year. It's 80 now this year. Guys that are not even playing in the NBA anymore are getting paid more than Steph Curry. So the argument is poor there and fallacious. In terms of the bullying and the singling out and hurting the reputation, it's proven it's hurt his reputation. The coach said it. And I think it's bullying because there's violence and they're singling out a guy for years. And a credible opinion in Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. When he took it to Twitter, that was way, way too far. And I mean, if you have to get a call from your mother telling you to fucking stop it, then you know you've been taking it too far. Shaq was taking it too far. But the thing is, I understand that it's a segment and he's not doing it as analysis, but I guess I understand it differently in that sense. Hill, congratulations, man! You were on, bro. That was great work.
Mabuhay po ang tropang gala.
What do you teach? What do you teach? High school, college, elementary? What do you teach?
High school
You teach
po,
foreign
high school
language?
po.
Wow, so you deal with a lot
Hill.
of
I teach
bullying.
debate po, Oregon, Oxford, and parliamentary form po.
Wow.
Government? Is that what you
Parliamentary form at saka British Oxford po.
Of what?
Debate.
So you are a teacher of debate.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit! Of course.
He skipped that
Of
part.
course. Thank you.
No wonder.
Hill, you set me up, you son of a.
Good work, Hill. We're
Hill,
gonna send you some.
congratulations, man.
Salamat po. Aaron, I love you.
I love you too, brother.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
great
man.
one. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we return, we will be joined by Mr. Gino Rufino for our press box here on Ball Hogs PH. Back here on our final segment of Ball Hogs PH, and joining us all the way from, I guess, Los Angeles. We finally found him. We have Gino Rufino back again for our press box. What's up, brother?
What's going on, guys? What's going on? I'm here. I'm still here in LA. I'm actually supposed to be heading to the airport right now, but I just took a pit stop so that I can chat with you guys for a little bit, and before heading back home.
All right. So, what's going on, man? What do you want to talk about?
Dude, when I was there in the Big Easy, the biggest news for that entire All-Star weekend was the big trade, right? And everybody, and since the trade went down, everybody was like, "Oh, the Pelicans are going to be making the playoffs." Now, they still might. They're only about 3.5 games behind the eighth spot. But since the big trade, they've lost 3 games in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
Caspi goes down. Yeah, Caspi goes down in the first game. Cousins gets suspended. Surprise, surprise. And there's a lot of people questioning, was this the right move? But obviously, it's still early. It's been only 3 games. There's still a long way to go. And even though if they don't win any more games this season, think about this. Now, this is what I want you guys to consider. Think about this. If they don't win any more games and they go Tankapalooza, they have a top 3 protected pick in this upcoming draft. So the Kings gave up a lot in order to get rid of Cousins. But do you think that the Pelicans, if they don't make the postseason and they completely tank the rest of the way and they get that pick and they get a top 3 pick, what is this the biggest steal trade, or is this the most one-sided trade in NBA history?
Well, first of all, I don't think that they will get a top 3 pick.
NBA, man. It's the NBA. Hey, you never know.
It's not gonna happen.
You never know.
They're what, 23-37. They still gotta chase the Lakers, the
Suns.
the Suns and the Nets in terms of the percentages of the balls. We've seen weirder shit happen in the NBA, but I pray to God that doesn't happen, because that would mean that they'd take the top 3 pick away from the Suns. So please, let's not talk about that. Mo, what do you think?
Oh, I think tanking is absurd for the Pelicans to do, because what you're trying to do here is build a culture of winning, and I think the playoffs have to be the end goal here. It's something that leaves you on a good foot. Of course, you're not going to win a championship. You're not going to make a deep playoff run, but that's not the point. The point is to make the playoffs, make you feel good about this the tandem that they have in the front court, and then build on it for next season. I think what the Pelicans have right now is something very rare. It's the hardest part to do when you're forming a team. If you're a general manager, how are you able to get superstar talent that are in their early to mid 20s, and they have goddamn 2 of them? They have 2 of the top 10 NBA players, and what, Cousins is 26 and Davis is even younger. This doesn't happen often. This is rare. They're getting bona fide stars at a young age. So that's the hard part of every GM in every single team, right? Is how can you, especially in the culture right now, which is not just a duo, but you have to have the big 3 or something like that, or in Golden State, big 4. How can you put as many stars as much as possible on one team in the prime of their lives? And they're going to have these guys for a bunch of years now if they can re-sign DeMarcus. So I think the hard part is there. The Pelicans have it. They've been able to get this. You have to now get a winning culture, especially around a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, a little bit of a head case.
Well,
a little bit. That's the biggest understatement.
Well, yeah, you're right. It's a really understatement, because I mean, how often really do you see the best player of a team be their worst personality guy on the team, right? It's usually a second-tier star, most usually likely a role player, right? Yeah. Where the very best player on your team is a pain in the ass. But it is with DeMarcus, and he's not just the best player. He's one of the best players in the NBA. So it's a very sensitive situation, and what you don't want to do is put any negativity around it, and that's what tanking is going to do. So there's no way you can tank there.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Obviously, I mean, well, you and I are in the same boat. I mean, I just hate tanking, period. So, but I don't think the Pelicans should tank. But let me ask Coach Charles Tiu about what he would do. I mean, obviously, the silver lining, if they don't win anything, I mean, if they can't make the postseason, is to tank, because there's nothing else they can do. I mean, you may as well. But Charles, would you rather the Pelicans make the postseason, exactly what Mo said, and build on that success? Maybe try and push the Warriors in the first round, or would you go the complete opposite direction, get that top 3 draft pick, and maybe build for the future?
I'd start winning right now. I mean, look, you've got 2 of the best players in the NBA already. You don't need much more than that. You need a bunch of role players who are willing to mentor these guys and just gel with the team. If you can get a mid to late first-round draft pick that's solid, then, hey, why not? Now players might want to play for the Pelicans anyways with these 2 guys. But if you start losing again, I mean, you could get another great pick. It might not work out. But you need a good coach. You need a good culture. As you said, and we talked about this earlier in the show, that chemistry is such an important thing. They've got to start building that. And by winning, that would really help. I mean, they're really good players. And Cousins is sick of losing. That's why he wanted to leave Sacramento.
That's a really, really good point, Charles, because you only get 1 year of him next season, and if all of a sudden you show tanking, that's not going to be good for him.
The biggest thing, though, is that they have to find a way to re-sign him. And if they start winning, he'll more likely be enticed to sign with them. If not, I mean... good luck.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things going for the Pelicans in re-signing DeMarcus. DeMarcus is from Mobile, Alabama, which is a 2-hour drive from New Orleans. So he's generally home right now, right? And if you can kind of get a positive environment around him, the chances of you signing him long term, and you already have Anthony Davis, are much bigger than I think any other teams. You just don't want to put any kind of negativity there with a guy that volatile.
Yeah, I agree. You got to win. But you want to call it now? Do you think that with 3.5 games out, are they about 3.5 games out? Will they make
20 games to go?
They got 22 to go with 3.5 to make 3.5 out of 8th spot. Will they get 8th spot?
Well, here's what's going for them. Okay, so the 8th seed belongs to Denver.
Yeah,
the Pelicans played Denver 3 more times this season, so that's they have to win those games, and they're in a favorable position to do so because they're chasing, and they're only out 3.5. Now there are other teams ahead of them, but their schedule is friendly enough for them to make a run at the playoffs, and I think they will. The problem with the Pelicans with these 3 games that DeMarcus has been there is that he gets into foul trouble. Now Cousins is, again, for a superstar, he's foul. He's foul prone. I think he averages 4.5 fouls a game, and that's really, really way too high for a guy that means that much to his squad. So what happens? Cousins gets into foul trouble, and then he has to go to the bench. And then guess what? There's no depth there because you freaking traded it all away. But it was worth it, right? But the thing is now you're really, really thin. So Cousins they got to get him out of foul trouble. His averages for 4.5 are just way too high for someone that means that much. And Holiday has struggled. Holiday has struggled since DeMarcus has been there. So they have some time to get it right, and I think they still will make the 8th seed.
Interesting.
That's
Charles?
interesting. Initially, I would have said no, but to Mo's point that they have 3 games against the Nuggets, that may change things a bit. Just because I think the Nuggets are playing at a really high level right now. They just beat the Bulls. They're playing so well. But, if the Pelicans have 3 games against them, and if they play better, find a way to figure things out, then I think they may have a chance.
How long do you think it'll take? I mean, we've seen 3 games. They lost them all, and we've seen a suspended Boogie. How many more games do we have before they start pressing okay, maybe we're not going to get that. What, maybe 10 games in? Is that what we're
suspended tomorrow?
Yeah.
Right? He's suspended tomorrow, so that might be a 4th game. But again,
They'll probably win without
him.
him. I'm going to call it now.
Yeah, but then the thing is, they get San Antonio. So again, that's rough. Then they get the Lakers, which is fine, but it's a back-to-back road game. The next game against Utah, which is trouble.
Oh, man.
I thought they had an easy schedule.
I said they had a favorable schedule. They had a favorable schedule for Denver to catch up, but immediately they're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I think it was they went through it before the trades. The Pelicans had, I think, the 4th toughest schedule in the NBA after the All-Star weekend, if I'm not mistaken. 4th or 5th, somewhere there. But obviously, after the trades, things changed, and we don't know exactly how tough some of these teams that made moves before the trade deadline are going to be. But Charles, what do they need to do? What do the Pelicans need to do in order for? I mean, aside from keeping Boogie out of foul trouble, what else do they need to do in order to get some wins? I mean, it's not a favorable schedule. And at what point do the Pelicans just say, you know what, we're not going to get in the playoffs, we may as well tank. We may as well go for the top 3 pick.
I think they just better find a way to make things work the way it is right now. Look, Boogie's a game changer, but they're running their whole system based on having one guy, Anthony Davis. Now you have Boogie, and he's a guy they never really had, so they got to. Their offense isn't exactly geared towards these 2 guys playing, and it's really tough to change that mid-season. But with that being said, I mean, they just got to find a way. And Boogie's got no excuses. He's been in the league long enough to know he shouldn't be fouling all these silly fouls and getting suspended when it actually matters for once. But, hey, that's the type of player he is. I'd say just figure it out.
So, all right. So, to close it out, 22 games to go for the Pels. What is their record prediction?
Okay, I still think they're going to make the playoffs.
I say no.
So so what do you see? Like a 12-10?
12-10 might get the playoffs. I mean, it's not going to
get you there.
It's so bad, right? Yeah.
I just think those games against the Nuggets is going to be enough to get them up there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, considering they have to win all 3, I think is the way they're going to get there. If they lose any of those, they're in trouble.
I think they could. I really do think they could. I mean, the 2 guys. I mean, obviously they need more help. So it's basically you have 2 All-Stars and a bunch of D-leaguers, and they're definitely going to need more help. But I think those 2 guys alone will have enough to carry them into the playoffs.
Okay.
I wouldn't even
not this year. Though. I mean,
that's the thing, though, Charles. I mean, if they don't make the playoffs this year, they gotta tank. So I mean, right now.
Well,
Gino, the tanking is out of the question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's too much value put on this pick. Now, I know Drew Holiday is a free agent, and a replacement point guard from the draft would be great, if they can get one. But it's just too much to risk in terms of tanking. And
for me,
guys.
Okay,
sorry,
go ahead. No, for me,
for
me that the fact that
one more regular season of losing for Davis and for Cousins. I mean, it's not even half a season. We're talking about a quarter of a season.
Yeah, but they're not the Lakers, Gino. They're not, and I get it. I mean, as a Laker fan, you guys are so entrenched in this whole tanking thing. You have to do it. You have to do it right. I mean, no, I'm not giving you shit. I'm saying it's the right call for that squad because they don't know who they have yet. They don't know what they have with all of these picks that they were able to choose in Russell and Ingram and whatnot, and Randall and JC, as you say. But with the Pelicans, they know they have 2 they have maybe the greatest twin tower ensemble in NBA history. So there's no, we need to tank this one. We need to sacrifice this one. They can't. It's just not the right mindset. Listen, they're babying DeMarcus Cousins. You know DeMarcus Cousins has a hall pass in sense that if he's pissed off, Gentry has given a rule that he can go to the hall and cool off. He can leave the bench and go to the hall.
Literally a hall pass.
With a therapist there, and they're going to talk to him, and he can come back. He's got that.
Okay.
That was given to DeMarcus. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to say, hey, DeMarcus, we need to calm down. We need positive energy. Now, I know he got a technical the other day that's going to get him suspended tomorrow, but they have given him a green light that when he's mad, they're going to pull him out of the game, they're going to put him in the hallway, and they're going to sit down and they're going to talk to him just to calm him down. That's how important it is. Who gets that? Only a top 10 player gets that.
I think after this week, after Fat Tuesdays, after Mardi Gras, they'll be fine.
Really?
And this whole,
and remember these three losses have come on 4 nights. So what happened here? DeMarcus got traded in the All-Star game, right? Then the team came back. They had maybe 1 practice, and that's it. 3 games straight. They were not able to practice anymore. Now, Charles, I don't know how important it is because again, I don't play and I don't coach. But if you got a new piece, right, and you gutted your team, 3 guys left, and you got 1 big one come in, and you only had 1 practice before you played 3 games in 4 nights.
That's tough.
You're gonna lose those games,
most
man.
probably. I mean, it's tough to change things mid-season, and he's not just a role player; he's a main guy you've got to adjust to. But my only thing here with this whole Pelicans thing is that, okay, fine, if they do beat the Nuggets 3 times, but the Wolves are still ahead of them, and they're playing at the high level right now, and the Mavs are there too. I never count out any team coached by Carlisle and Dirk, so it's not just that. I mean, the other teams are still hanging in there. Hey, if Sac makes it, that would be really ironic. But
that'd be beautiful.
I take the Wolves or the Mavs making it right now over the Pelicans.
Wow, Mavs.
Wow, I think Denver's going to hold on until the very end. I mean, I'm
me
a Joker fan.
too. But if somebody else, I don't think it's
if
the
somebody
Pelicans.
else is going to hold, is somebody going to get it? I would love to see Sacramento.
I think the only other team outside of the Pelicans who can make the playoffs outside again, the Nuggets are there are the Blazers. They were there last year. They improved also their front court a little bit, and they're not far off. They're only a game and a half out. So
they're
I think if there's
the Blazers are too much of a wreck.
Yeah, but I still think if there's any other team that can make it, they have enough firepower on the offense with that backcourt that can get them into the playoffs. I think that they're the only other team outside of the Pelicans that can take over the Nuggets for that 8th spot. I'm not saying they're going to do it. I'm just saying they're the only other team that I think has the capability of doing it. I still like the Pelicans, though, at number 8.
There you go.
Well, let me ask one last question for Coach Charles. Let's just play with the idea. Let's say the Pelicans make it to the postseason, and they face the Warriors in the first round. How much of a problem are these 2 giants going to give the Warriors in the first round of the playoffs?
They'd give them a lot.
Can they steal 1 game?
Problems.
Maybe 2?
I think they'd be able to steal 1 game, definitely, just by their sheer size. Again, the playoffs, if they're smart enough, they can find a way to really slow down the Warriors. Of course, it's not going to be easy. They can pray that Kevin Durant's injury is kind of serious and not have him there. But and the Warriors would still win. But I think they'd give them a hard time. The Warriors have generally had a lot of problems against bigger teams.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
I think so too.
There you go. All right. Well,
and again, who cares, man? If they get bounced, who cares? If they
Yeah.
get in 1
Yeah,
game,
dude,
that's
as long as
such a win.
As long as they make it, I want them to make it.
Me
I
too.
want to see these
I'd
2
love-
guys go up against the Warriors.
I'd love
and
to see that too.
bang in there and then go into the second round for Golden State. That becomes tough.
Yeah,
man.
get Draymond Green a couple of technical fouls, some suspensions.
Nice. All right, well, that will wrap up this episode of Ball Hogs. Thank you to Charles Tiu for dropping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That was a whole
Yeah,
lot of
thanks,
fun.
Charles. Hope you guys had fun.
Yeah,
Gina,
it's
we'll
fun.
see you. Come back. Have a safe flight. I know
I
you're
will.
in LA. You're about
I'm-
to get on the
I'm
airport.
heading- I'm heading to the airport right now.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, we miss you, buddy.
I sorta. We sort of miss you. We sort of miss you. All right, we'll see
Thanks,
you guys
bud.
next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
All right, guys.